welcome back to the Heroes Hearth in-house league presented by the Heroes Hearth Celebrity Clash League. My name is Bahamut. I'm joined by mcintyre this evening. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. It's a Monday. You know what that means? Some in-house CCL games. Should be a good night.
Nice little best of five.
A little BO5 for sure.
And and people get a little, money at the end. We were talking about what they could spend it on. Me personally, it'd be Taco Bell.
What would you get from Taco Bell?
Oh, it's a simple order. It's a cheesy gordita crunch with the
Oh.
Doritos Locos taco shell.
Oh.
You get a chicken quesadilla.
Oh, okay.
Nacho Supreme,
All right.
beef, and then you get a beefy 5-layer. And that right there is how you feel sick
Oh my. That's what we like to call the entire menu at Taco Bell. No. That sounds like the correct order for a Taco Bell order. I feel like my go-to, man, I really like their chalupas. I don't know, and they just came out with the the tri chalupa, which is essentially the size of 3 chalupas, but in a singular form, almost as if it's a foot-long chalupa. I think that's what I would go with right now, with probably a Nacho Bel Grande. And of course the Baja Blast too, right?
You gotta. So we're just waiting on one last player. They said they needed a couple more minutes. So we are going to be getting into this. If you're sitting at home and you're wondering what this is all about, why we are here, what we are doing, this is a little in-house league that we're running in between the seasons for the CCL, just to get these players, get them some fun games and put a little money on the line too, just so that they have something to play for. And it gets you something on a Monday night to actually enjoy and listen to and watch. Because who doesn't want Heroes on a Monday night after a long day of working or just sitting around? Just Heroes content in general. It's always the best thing. But I see Ellie always says this and it makes me nervous, but one time it's actually gonna be true.
It's the old cat on fire sort of deal.
Yeah, I know. So we're getting memes from the players right now, but
We can actually
second week of this.
We can actually talk about the rosters if we want,
Yeah.
So I'll bring those up on the screen here, just so everyone can kind of see who we're dealing with tonight. So we had a really jam-packed rosters last week, and this week we have exciting rosters as well. We can see on the left we're actually gonna have, I think they're called Free PX, maybe is what they've decided on their team name is gonna be. Which is
free XP.
Oh yeah, it is. It is actually just free XP. That is exactly what it is. We're gonna have Ellie on the bruiser role, Notori on the tank, Ebby on support, Maka as ranged, and Noah as melee assassin.
Yeah, and then on the right hand side we got the members of Keg W, because why not? We got Liam playing the bruiser role. We're gonna be having Russ as the main tank. Our healer is going to be Legacy, Unaverted as the range assassin, and Tiger JK will be our melee assassin. So we are just getting the last little bit of information for our captains. And once we get Notori in here, we'll be able to go into game number 1. We are going to game number 1. And you know what? So Mac, I've been thinking about this all week, because I was like, you know what? I rarely get the chance to talk to someone who's performed at HCC levels, who understands this game in a completely different manner. One thing that I was thinking about is, what is the most difficult composition to execute in your opinion? You know, like there's dive compositions with the Nubarak Greymane, there's control compositions with like Joanna and Stukov, and you're playing around those factors. What is the most difficult composition to kind of pull off in those situations, in your opinion?
I think the hardest comp is actually the like hyper macro composition, the comp where you're essentially sacrificing the ability to team fight at all just to play the map, right? And you need to realize that with those type of compositions, someone getting picked and kind of getting taken out is okay if you gain value on the map, be it a fort, be it a let's say a boss. You're kind of sacrificing. It's this give and take sort of composition, and I think that in itself is one of the most difficult to play, because it's so value driven, right? You're not like mechanically outplaying, sure, but you're really playing the game at the board game state of it, right? Where resources are what's most important. And I think that a lot of the time you don't see that, right? You see the clump death balls, you see the all-ins, you see the poke comps, but you don't really see the finesse, play the map type of compositions. And I think those are the most difficult when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. But I actually need to, it looks like pull your
I
volume
did.
up just a
I
little
turned
bit.
myself up a little bit on my board as well.
Okay.
Windows has been a little interesting as of late. Like I had issues last week, and I was like, "Why is all my audio low?" Apparently, Windows turned my audio down by like 10%
Oh,
randomly. It
really?
turned me down. Actually, no, it was 14% because I turned myself to like 80, and it was just like that's not good enough. And then like 84 was like everyone was like, "Oh, that's exactly where you used to be." So Windows just doing God's work right now. Maybe I'll double check that in a second. But it looks like we have the readies from both sides. I can push the button, and we can
Cool.
go ahead
Yep.
and get on
Let's
into
hop into the
game number
draft.
one.
Sounds perfect
We're gonna
now.
be
Cool.
we're gonna be getting on into Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number one. I gotta say, like Tomb to start things out, because you and I were just we were just talking like, well, what are we doing for game one? And we said Tomb. I like Tomb to start things out. Rotation heavy. You do have that macro, but you also have a lot of micro play in between those lane rotations with a lot of skirmishing. You have to be able to be aggressive but also defensive with your gems as well. So I like this as the start. Also, it's a small map, so things get really difficult as oh, we're gonna be jumping around right now. But either way, first band coming out. I'm trying to think here.
Zul.
Do you? Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
not as first.
Unless,
As
well,
first pick, you don't have to. As first pick, you don't have
yeah,
to.
that's true. I mean, because like you could maybe target Hebi here a little bit. Hebi plays an insanely good Stuke off we saw last week.
Yeah.
Ana's a great option as well, and Joanna's a great main tank if you want to go into that realm as well. So there's just so many good options for Tomb of the Spider Queen to start things out with.
I feel like currently in my Sylvanas is a pretty good one too, right? They're not gonna probably fight for that pick, so that would be a really good 1-2 pick to kind of follow up. So I do like that Sylvanas. Again, they're probably fighting for the Zul and forcing it. I would like to see an Ana ban here, or one, like you said, one of those supports. Maybe even the Joanna. Yeah, in Storm League, that's been like my go-to bans now is Ana and Zul. And okay, there you go. So the Stukov, right? They're taking out Heavy Stu. It's something that we saw him do really well with last week, and the Zul forced there as well.
This leaves things like Deathwing up and available, which we have been seeing some teams actually heckle each other over. Like I think last week there was like a couple Deathwing bans and it just was like cowards. But Maka also, if I'm not mistaken, played a really strong Sylvanas in previous weeks, so it might be a target towards them. But they'll snap pick this Ana on the right hand side for our Keg W's, and it makes sense. There's the Joan on the opposing side because lane rotations and the ability to be able to clump up the minions. But Malfurion has been making waves as of late, and coming back into the meta and kind of being a forefront choice for a lot of healers here.
Yeah, I think that level 1 talent, I talked about it last week. It just like really makes him much stronger than what he once was. Like before, you had to consider, do I put a Q on myself? And now you don't have to consider that anymore, right? You just hand out the growths to each player and you're sustaining yourself at the same time. So you'll see with the Malfurion, a lot of the time everyone will be full health as long as he's able to Moonfire. And we do have picked up here from the KegW side, actually the ETC and the Jaina Ana. I still to the day have BBJ tell me about at BlizzCon how we didn't take these two and we took Zeratul instead and we lost the Team Liquid. So this haunts me on Tomb of the Spider Queen to the day. Very strong on the map. We saw last week even, the nanoed Jaina is just so powerful.
On top of that too, power slide in from ETC, locks down a mosh pit, nano your Jaina, Ring of Frost, even water elemental at that point is still a lot of good burst and sustained damage from that Jaina. So I agree with you 100%. Ana Jaina is a great duo, but then you throw that ETC and that's a nice little cherry on top for them. Hanzo was banned out as well, not wanting to deal with that ranged poke. Things like Raynor are still unavailable if they want to go for it on the side of KegW. And I've actually been seeing a lot of Raynors go into Exterminator at level 1, especially on Tomb, a rotation heavy base map for a lot of wave clear, a lot of shrine clear, and not shrine clear, camp clears. But on the left hand side, they do need more wave clear. They're also going to need a solo laner, and they're going to lock in a Leoric and a Greymane.
Both, yeah, everything, the essentials they have now is someone that can do the camp, someone that can clear the waves. Actually, that Tracer band kind of lets me to the power of that Malfurion hover as well, like that lock-in. It kind of threatens it. It just immediately threatens the fact that, hey, we can take Tracer. You either have to ban it or play against it. So actually really heads up ban as well coming out from KegW. And we are going to see them pick up the Maiev and the Mathiel. This is that composition I always talk about. This is my favorite type of comp for Heroes of the Storm. You have that character that's going to be explosive in Maiev. You have your wave clear, your tank, your support, and a wave clear off lane. So that Maiev pick is that chaos pick, and we'll see hopefully here from free XP Yes. That hopeful chaos pick here, right? With a Kerrigan maybe. Okay, a Genji. There you go. A little weird, but
so it's dive with the Greymane, which I see, but I was leaning more into like a Kael'thas, honestly. Like Kael'thas was actually something I was kind of leaning into because of the Joanna, the grouping. You also have so condemn into the enemy team. You throw a living bomb that spreads to everyone, and if you go into any sort of cooldown reduction, at level I think 13 it is, you can get tons. Like I don't know, like it also would have given them a lot more wave clear. It's not like their wave clear is bad in the rotations, but it's a lot on that Greymane and Joanna, realistically, in my opinion.
I think that if I had to guess, the Genji pick is to relieve that Leoric in the offlane, right? So they've taken it solely to say, hey Mathiel, you can't really bully our Leoric that much. We have a Genji that can rotate down very quickly and possibly gank you. But
Maiev,
yeah, Maiev is just a better version, right? It'll be interesting. I mean, looking at these comps now, I think on free XP side, it's gonna be really up to the Genji and the Greymane, and then on KegW side, I actually think that the Maiev is gonna have a big say, as well as the ETC, right? Being able to control all of that chaos that free XP team is trying to assert is gonna really be up to the ETC here this game.
I don't know. Free XP, they've got some tools here, but it's just it feels lacking to me overall. But we're here. We're into game number 1. Me personally, I'm thinking KegW's got this. So, but on the left-hand side, we've got free XP with Noah on the Genji, Nintori on the Joanna, Mako will be on the Greymane, Heavy Hooten on that Malfurion, and Ellie on the Leoric.
And looking at KegW's side, we got Legacy on the Ana, Vespertine is going to be playing the Mathiel, Tiger JK on the Maiev, Russ is going to be on the ETC, and Unaverted on the Ana. Or not the Ana, the Jaina. The Jaina. She got 2 A's and N's in there, too.
Level 1 for ETC will be that proc rock, so they're going to be looking to get some healing for the friendly team. I'm waiting for Jaina to... Okay, they're going Fingers of Frost. That makes sense. I was like, I don't think we see any sort of Ice Lance increase or, anything onto that.
Nothing crazy.
You're going into rotations between top to mid on this map, and you're going to be able to get those globes fairly quickly. At least you expect to, as just a little bit of poke comes out between both these teams, and no initial fight just yet.
We have the Nishas there, too, on the Maiev, kind of saying that... she might start to look to do those camps early in the game, taking that taunt. So just that first wave tango. We do have a rotation advantage here from KegW's side, though Nintori is actually behind, so Maev's going to be able to push out that wave top, and they're now in advantage here on the wave. We'll be able to control that mid wave and potentially the rotation here, as we see Russ looking at Heavy, just dominating. Ellie's and Noah are cleaning up, though, from the bottom lane. So we do have the Genji actually rotating to the bottom lane here on this mid wave clear. We'll see if he does that again here or if he heads to the top lane. Maybe even, a heads-up play would be to pressure now that Maiev doing the camp here from Noah. Looks like he's just kind of trying to figure out where he wants to be at on the map right now, while Legacy and Tiger are going to be picking up that hard camp.
Yeah, it's good splits on camps coming out from both sides. The ETC I wanted to note earlier was just anchoring for the friendly team as they were making their rotation. And you can even see it here, just zoning back and also stepping up into the wave to pick up those gems. If you're gonna have the majority of the gems on something, I mean, it's a crowd control monster like ETC who's got a disengage too, who's got that face melt as well. Is such a strong asset for them. But they're in the wave right now. They're making sure they're soaking up this experience as they do grab the Siege Giants for bottom wave. Gonna have that just push up. But right now, still going to be sitting around 20 to 27 when it comes to our gems on both these sides, and mid lane will be having 2 camps crashing fairly soon as well.
I'm curious how you feel about this, Bahamut. They took the hard camp and then just didn't do anything with it?
I said 2 camps expecting to see one on the right-hand side and didn't, and I was like, all right, okay.
Is that just me, or... KegW took the hard camp. They took the easy camp, but like, what?
Didn't do anything with either.
Nothing of neither, right?
No, I think it almost seemed like they were rushing around the map to just get both the camps and just kind of check that box. It is going to be experience for your team. You are still yielding a little extra experience. What is that? So right now, Mercenaries for the left-hand side is 450, and Mercenaries on the right for KegW is going to be 730. So it's a little experience gain, roughly a little less than 300, but I don't know. And also it takes it off the map so the enemy team can't grab it, but Vesper is just being pressured so much in bottom lane by Noah. Not even making top lane rotations, just always coming down at the bottom.
And this is something that KegW really has to figure out, right? That Genji's going to continue to rotate down, continue to pressure Vesper. And to be honest, like, Leoric is not a terrible character into the Mathiel here, right? His autos are very heavy. Mathiel requires the wave to sustain himself. Legacy coming down to kind of aid him here, maybe top him off before he chooses to rotate back to mid. But actually in the top lane, Maka is a little caught out of position here. Nintori doing a great job to peel for Tiger. Tiger does go down. The Janet is going to be able to pick up Maka here. Heavy. Is Russ going to be able to whack him down? Whack-a-mole. He's out of here. That's going to be a double kill here as Russ is just going to walk away. Now Anna, it was a great little fight there. Anna being in the bottom lane, you know, forcing the fight, knowing that perma-sustain that comes from the Anna is not there. But it is going to be a trade down here out of free XP side.
That power slide from Russ into the couple members who were stuck in that blizzard worked out so well for them to be able to get that extra wave of damage, and then ETC was able to capitalize. And you know, trading 1 for 2, I think is absolutely great. You still are up in experience overall. You didn't lose any gems or anything like that. And now Nintori with 28 gems will be trying to harass them. Pops the Iron Skin to make sure they're not caught by the Umbral Bind. This will be Tiger JK going for a bit of a turn in here. They do have availability for web weavers on both sides. It's just they need to get that majority turn. And I think Malthiel's the big holdout on this bottom lane as Noah wants to stop that unaverted coming to poke at this. But Mac, Ellie might be able to stop this as well.
This is that point in the game where free XP has to recognize, you know, Liam is the turn in here, right? And all eyes should be on him. Same goes for Nintori here as Russ takes a lot of damage. Actually, a great unstoppable from Nintori. The slide does have to come out here. I think Legacy will be able to top that off, but you get to this point in Spider Queen where you have to keep eyes on that certain character, right? And in this case, they were unable to keep eyes on Nintori. They gave up that 5-6 seconds, and he was able to get a turn in. It's one of those tangos that happens on Spider Queen a lot, where you know who has the rest of the team's gems, where are they on the map, and they kind of lost sight of them there after that trade out. And the blue team able to pick up a turn in here.
Web Weaver's descending in their favor. It still is going to be 8 to 8 in levels, so no heroics coming through just yet, but they might be able to grab that experience through this phase here, as this mid lane will be the first opportunity for free PX. Oh my god, free XP. We're going to do that a lot tonight. Free XP is going to be...
I have to take the time
to open up
time.
Mid lane as much as they can. We do have Maev clearing out top, and Leoric will be pressuring out bottom lane. I would expect them to get front gates here. If they can maybe get a kill, unaverted being very low on the right, they might be able to step into a fort, but this will be the rotation into top to maybe open that lane up further, as mid lane will already be cleared out, and bottom lane is about, it's just below half health.
This is an interesting turn in because it isn't that level 10 heroic turn in, right? A lot of the times we see that level 10 heroic turn in usually blow the game out, and because they've opted to turn in before that level, they kind of only get walls, right? On Spider Queen you see this a lot. And it's almost as if KegW is in a better position as they're still up experience after losing a turn in, to now force a turn in fight, potentially blow the game out using their heroics and really gain a lead here on this map. So it'll be interesting to see here. Again, giving up eyes on Liam. This is something that players need to be more kind of hyper aware of when you play Spider Queen. Who's got the gems? Who's got the turn-ins? Where are they on the map? They opt to do the bottom camp here, but a turn-in is going to be given away here. And we have a really, great situation here as a hard camp is pushing into the middle lane, and we're going to see a fight break out. Ellie with the Entomon unaverted, but that is not going to be much as Noah... oh my god, Noah taking a ton of damage. Maka is down unaverted as well. Going to be taken down here. A root coming out on Russ as he is falling very low, but Ana is able to keep him alive. Noah running to the left. Maka is going to eat that last rights and be taken down. A slide coming out here, connecting on Ellie. Rush is getting pumped heals by this Ana Vesper team as well. Heavy going to be taken down up there at the top. Tiger, Ellie as well.
27 gems.
Good lord. This is it. This is that blowout that I was talking about, right? We have the heroics, a fight breaks out, a turn-in's happen, the opportunity's there with that hard camp mid, and it is taken. And now this is a point the Tomb of the Spider Queen world where how do you bounce back? This is the hardest thing to do, I think, for most teams, and we'll see how they handle it from here.
Definitely a momentum-based map where you are going to be getting this massive web move phase. This should be a triple fort coming through in favor for KEGW. They got a little. They have a lot of good siege damage in mid lane. They've already gotten top, and Leorg did actually respawn and clear out bottom lane, so it will at least be double in favor for the members of KEGW. But that also pushes them up further in their experience, close to that 13 talent tier. We do have ETC and Jane at 18 stacks on their level 1 quest talent, so they both only need 2 more to finish those out. And we actually have back-to-back turn availability for the members of KEGW. We're going to see if they're able to. Nice bush check from Tiger JK using the Spirit of Vengeance for that. But they are sitting on 22 of the... They only need what? Caster math is kicking in. They need 31 more gems turned in. It's close.
31, yeah, yep. It's and you can see Tiger here with the 22, right? I'm assuming Liam has somewhere around 20 as well. Yep, 23. So neither have the full turn-in. Both we're gonna have to get in the turn-ins if they're gonna have the web weaver spawn. So yeah, I want to point out too here something from Russ's build. Actually, he's gone speed metal, and this is something I talked about on Into the Nexus this week. I think this is such a good ability on ETC, as it's essentially Lucio passive but constantly, right? You're gonna be casting your spells as ETC, and being able to kind of always have that movement speed and provide it for your teammates around you, I think is so powerful. And actually might have been the reason he was able to kill Alfurion, but fight is breaking out here.
Webweaver descends. This is going to be an Entomb on the right-hand side. Walter Melta comes up. There's going to be a silence out from the Alfurion as well. Genji dives through with the Dragon's Blade, finding 1 kill right there. They're going to chase on the Rust. The Blessed Shield comes out from the Joan as well. Moshpit out from Rust actually zones the Genji, who's just taking so much damage. The Power Slide connects onto them and finding a kill right there. A 2-for-1 thus far in favor for KEGW, as this will be a Wraith Walk out from Ellie to get further away. Spirit of Vengeance chasing them. Tiger JK not able to solidify another kill, but the Power Slide catches the toe of Greymane, and we get the mark onto Maka. And apparently, we're being told that what server we're on right now. Whoops! West is best.
Yeah, Genji's lit, I think is what he really meant to say.
Yeah.
It's we're having a little bit of Turk flashbacks here, but I'll be honest, I really hate these forced team fights on turn-ins. It's happened now twice, and it just leads to bigger losses, right? Sometimes it's a good idea to force a fight potentially before a turn-in happens, but it's now twice over that they've decided, hey, you know what? They just got a turn-in, we should fight. And because of that, both times now they're down even greater losses from those fights, and you know, had they just sat back and defended. They obviously want to find their windows here, right? Pre-16, we have potentially a window to force a fight now, and this might be an opportunity that they want to, especially with the gems up. But we actually see KEGW here doing that thing where you give up the turn-in, you get the boss, you kind of neutralize it, potentially just getting yourself closer to that level 16.
Leorg is seen in bottom lane. They can look to invade onto this. Yeah, I'm waiting to see. Yeah, they're looking for the 5v5, but they don't know, or 4v5, they don't know where Leorg disappeared off to. They are sitting and going for that turn-in. Ellie does get quite a few gems turned in. I'm just going to check really quickly. 47 gems currently sit on Joanna. 47. That is a whole lot. If you want to show the folks at home, if you hit Control-2, it will bring up all the stats really quickly, so at least they can see those at the bottom of the screen. Or tab, that works too. I just looked there, I was like, oh yeah, that's an option as well. But it's just, yeah, just if anyone's wondering what quest and talents and stuff look like and everything, but that's going to be a mosh pit out from ETC. The boss will be able to stun a couple members. The Genji will go down. Joanna pops the Iron Skin as there is going to be a Warden's Cage out from Maiev. Joanna gets pulled back in. That's 40-some gems on the ground, plus whatever someone else dropped. And with the triple kill, they're going for boss. The members of KEGW should be able to push this into top lane.
I think they had around 80 when they walked into that team fight. And now, as you see, they have 10, right? And that is the Leorg. That looked almost to be a 4v5, I'm going to say it was. I don't actually believe the Leorg was there. And I think is essential to their team fight. 2 fights now, he's been able to entomb unaverted, kind of give Genji that opportunity to take Jaina out. We will see Jaina here probably finishing up her quest really soon here, yep. So only around 3,000, a little more than 3,000 damage until she's done. So Ice Block is going to stop a lot of that all-in from Genji, but if we can get to level 20 on free XP's side, you know, having that Silence Entomb will really allow the team fight to happen. But that was a massive mosh pit there from Rust in that fight, catching 2 out, honestly just setting up all the damage for Janna, allowing Maeve to dive the back line, and now we see a boss push coming out.
Yeah, and just on that note, as you said, Leorc is needed here for these fights. It's this right here, that Ominous Wraith is such an impactful tool they need. There was a Nano Boost onto Jaina, the burst comes out onto Leorc, so that will be 1 kill in favor for KegW as they have a boss pushing up their top lane. Webweaver coming through as well. Mac, this is typically what a lot of teams try and end game with, and this is a whole lot of pressure in through top lane. Can they end it on the side of KegW and go up 1 in our best of 5 series?
We see Leorc just trying to spook him out here, but they are going to be pushing and pressuring in. You can see Russ actually sliding in. Tiger with a great pull. He's going to get his heroic here as well on heavy. And Maka in the Twilight comes out. Maka going to be taken down to the last rights. Janna getting a lot of damage from Noah. Is taken out. Legacy might as well fall to that Dragon Blade. It is going to be 2 here picked up from Noah. And that might be enough to shut down this all-in on the court. Ellie's still fighting it out here. And then Tube coming out on Tiger JK. Stacked up heavy. A 3-man E connecting from Noah. He's going to be able to connect another 2-man E. A lot of damage, no sustain. Vesper doing his best to take down Ellie. He's going to be able to trade him out, but the core is still standing there and potentially even going to be able to protect this mid keep.
Mid keep saved. Bottom lane keep does have a moderately healthy Webweaver coming in on it, but I don't think this is going to be a keep going down. And they weren't able to end right. Actually, no, they're going to re-engage. They're going to try and push in on this. Noah's going to be just zoned away by Russ. They want to at least go for the keep in bottom lane. Mid lane did go down. So that's triple keeps from that Webweaver boss phase overall, and 20 talents here for KegW. I'd say that's an overall win, even though they did lose a couple members in that last engagement.
Yeah, and this is now that point in the game on Tomb where they don't have a lot of gems. This is actually like the bounce back, right? For free XP, this is where they have a window to come back. They really, you know, KegW really wanted to win on that boss, like you said. They had opened up the opportunity, had a boss, had a turn in. Tons of minions. When it were unable to close, and now they kind of use all that money in the piggy bank to buy those resources, right? So now we're back to just pressuring lanes, pushing in, and this should allow free XP to kind of catch back up in XP, at least give themselves a 20x, you know, fight. They're gonna get a 20s fight. They'll have all of their abilities and talents. So we'll see. Maybe they'll be able to turtle out, maybe not. As Jaina is pretty darn good at taking down the core, so
They also have the spell armor from the mage in mid lane, and they want to pressure this. I love the aggression coming out from KegW. This is a great example of you're up a talent here. You have waves coming in. You have an advantage in the fight. Utilize it against the enemy team, and you can see them. They're backing off. They're turtling, as you're calling it, where they're backing off, waiting for someone to step a little too far forward. But now the enemy team is on core. The power slide comes from ETC, Ondin and Tori. Gonna zone them back a little bit. Noah pops the Dragon Blade, tries to dive out unaverted. That is going to be a Entomb out from Leorc, but no buried alive. There's a Warden's Cage, the silence out from Malfurion as well. Last rights go into heavy. No kill onto them as they do find that last little bit of damage. Mosh pit from the ETC finds a Greymane, but the Torbus comes through and moves over to two new members. That's going to be a dance from Ellie. Joanna is able to get away. Leorc does end up going down, as well as I believe Genji above us. Vesper gets taken out by Maka. Malthael buys back in and is back into this game, but now we're looking like a potential core. It's 50-50 here. Nanturi's going to be zoning them, but yeah, I think they're going to try and poke at this core as they do Siege Giants through bottom lane.
Yeah, Malka just doing his best here. He really needs to try to get these waves cleared up. It's just not going to be enough, I don't think, and looks like KegW is going to be able to take the win. I can't, it hurts me, Vomit, to watch a team, just those, it's time windows. They're so crucial, right? Right, they had like maybe 9/10 of level 20, right? And then they were like, hey, you know what would be cool if we just like walked away from our core, if we like fought them beside of our keep, right? They just like sacrificed the fact that they have a building that's gonna shoot and do splash AoE damage to dive the Ana and Jaina 5 seconds before they would have hit their level 20 power spike, and they would have had buried alive, which they were able to get, but you know, maybe 5 seconds too late. So I would say, you know, watching this game over and kind of looking forward to the next game, I think we need to be, at least on free XP side, just a little cleaner on our execution when it comes to like level kind of windows, right? We just saw it over and over again here. They were just forcing fights right a little bit before they should have.
Mm-hmm. And you called it very, very early in the mid lane engagement during a web weaver phase that got a lot of value before that boss. You kept saying, every time like you didn't like how teams were like the enemy team would get a web weaver, have something in mid lane, or have a camp or something, and then fight into that. It was even talent tiers, it was even experience, whatever. But with that web weaver in lane, it still does extra damage, and you still have minions there that you're going to be tanking damage from those. And I think it played into KegW's favor every single time because free XP, one of those fights at the moment, and I think they just thought they saw they had a setup or something, or maybe the enemy team was split up enough where Genji could get in the backline, because that worked for a lot of the early fights. They could get Genji in the backline, disrupt, and find a couple kills here and there, but not throughout the entire game. So we will get ourselves set up here for game number 2, and we're going to be heading to Dragonshire, actually.
Yeah, Dragonshire, just one of those maps where you get to see that roam character do really a lot of work, put in a lot of work, right? The Maev, the Genji. This is one of the few maps I think currently in the game that Kerrigan is like really powerful on. I think the Delta Bush, or the Triangle, whatever you want to call it, it's like her playground, right? She does very well. You have to walk through 2 brushes to rotate, and her ability to clear waves and then kind of dominate that space of the map is one of, I would say Dragonshire is one of her strongest maps because of it. So those type of characters I think are more fun. Or you have, the type of comps where Chromie really shines in the bottom shrine, right? She just kind of hangs out, sets up some time traps, throws some max range Qs, and just forever and always sits down there in the bottom lane. So you can get really creative on this map. There's not just one strategy of clear mid, rotate bot, clear bot, rotate mid. And so we'll really get to see, I think, these teams be creative when it comes to the Dragonshire.
Yeah, I the other thing too that I like as well, like there's a lot of good poke heroes, there's a lot of good burst and rotation based heroes, but the big thing also is the solo lane, that top lane. Do we see Chen? Do we see the high priority into Dahaka? Because this is, as you said, a very good Kerrigan map. As oh, okay, we're moving around again.
The names, we moved chat for a good reason, but I forgot that there was names that were there. But we'll give you guys the names.
It's okay. I just wanted to be you for an afternoon. It's okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Can deny me.
I wanted to pretend like I could have a beard that looks like yours.
There's but the big thing is like that solo lane in top, like what's the matchup going to be? And then who do you get to rotate up there? Do you have another Genji? Do you have another Maev? Like what's the game plan to potentially be able to gank that top lane and dominate over the enemy team so you can potentially grab said Dragonite? Because if we've seen Liam or Vesper grab Chen and use the keg to force back enemy members so that way they get the channel, and then they'll just sit there and drink when they have the full potential, and that allows someone in mid lane to grab it because usually there's a dive or there's a second, or, that solo laner still up there just 1v1ing into him. So it's just difficult moments like that, and also the draft that we consider here for a map like Dragonshire. Just globals I think are a massive semi-valued thing here. I think there's a lot of teams that don't really value the global as much as I think they should.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those pieces to the puzzle that kind of gives you an advantage, right? Just being able to move one of your pieces from one side of the board to the other in a map that's very give and take, kind of changes up the flow of how the map's played. Dahaka was always a favorite of mine on this map because if they play in on the bottom shrine, it just so happens there's a brush right there. Like, in order for them to walk to the objective that they are fighting for, I get to just dig right behind them, right? And appear and say, hello, I'm here now, right? You didn't know that I was. Maybe you prepared for me to be, but having that ability to, show up, be there at any point in time when it's fighting over that bottom objective, I think it is like so powerful on this map. And obviously there's a bunch of characters that can do that now. It's just a nice thing to consider when drafting on this map. believe we are maybe central now. I should also be central. Yep.
That was the first thing I did. It was a weird lobby mess up thing. Sometimes Heroes decides since I'm making lobbies, and sometimes Heroes literally just pulls from wherever I'm located. So
Okay.
that's the issue. Sometimes it's not always, but fingers crossed we don't have that issue continuing throughout the night or persisting. But that's all good. We are here and we're ready to go to Shire for game number 2. And on the left-hand side, we got the members of Free PX. And on the right is going to be Keg W, who is up 1 in our game, if we want to mark that for the ladies and gentlemen at home. Yeah, and I think I saw someone in chat was saying, like, wouldn't they know in draft? In draft, the draft lobby is not on a server. So you do not know server until you literally
launch the game.
Unfortunately.
And that was if anyone watched season 1 CCL, that was I had to make sure every single game, because of the very first game, we had it was like our obs at the time disconnected, and then it pulled to his server when the game launched, and then no one was set to referee, so we couldn't pause. We couldn't talk to the players. The players were spamming for a pause. For some reason, they weren't pausing. Yeah, it was a good game 1.
It's it's NA production. We have failure, but we roll with it and we make it look absolutely perfect. So I mean, West. That's gonna be a thing for forever for the CCL matchups. But Deathwing and Stukov on the left hand side, they don't want to deal with that poke from Deathwing. I mean, Skyfall itself, that level 7 talent is such a nuisance when someone's trying to channel anything. Like Shire, Cursed Hollow, Towers of Doom, like all those maps are insanely good for Deathwing because of that one talent. I mean, there's other factors, but Skyfall is such a great way to delay things out.
And it's he's a global too, right? We were just talking about he's a new global. He can go from top to bottom. He can show up mid even, right? Just having that, we see a nice safe Joanna. We might see a Jaina pick up again. With Joanna, she's like really strong, but her strength comes from the fact that her unstoppable shield is kind of what keeps her safe. So if you can pick a character up and typically you see teams go Jaina for that, but if you can pick a character up that can push that shield off of her, then she's very easy to take down. We do see the Grey Mane and the ETC, maybe a Curse Bullet, right? It's another good way to kind of knock it off of her. And then you can follow up with an ETC slide. I personally really like ETC into Joanna as well, just because he's a big body that she has to get around, right? Even if she's unstoppable, just having him in the middle of kind of the fight and protecting his backline, I think he's a really effective tank versus her. So we'll probably see some now. Well, there you go. So we've gone Protoss here.
Really quickly, our eagle-eyed viewers have noticed our score is incorrect. It needs to be swapped to Keg W. But a Zeratul and Phoenix. And also, I wasn't thinking about this either. When you channel the Dragonite, you don't have vision. It's not like Towers of Doom where you actually get global vision for the objective. Or Cursed Hollow. So yeah, that was actually a good point. Skyfall doesn't have as much value as I thought it did. So
it can
shout out
still,
to chat who's keeping us in line, but
it can still do it. Really it can still it can still do it if you have vision. But
yes,
you can park a Lunara Wisp in the middle brush from top to mid.
Oh god, and then it would
see it all, right?
With Sentinel Wisp, I believe, is at level 1. That 200 vision increase is basically like top to mid entire, like that. The Bermuda Triangle is completely visible. But we have a Maiev ban, an Abathur ban, a Zeratul, and Phoenix. The Phoenix, I'm interested because like we don't see a lot of Phoenix. Like I'm expecting Salvo, but they need I think they need more slow. And for Keg W, just like grab a Jaina here, deny. Ooh, they're gonna grab the Thrall, which is still a good denial as well, because Earthquake and Phoenix were a great hand in hand, and Thrall could be running that solo lane. What are the last 2 picks though for free XP here?
I think the Phoenix pick there too kind of flexes to the top lane to give Vesper, like, he might have to lane against 2 different characters. So it kind of gives them the flexibility here on these 2 last picks. The support probably going to be something like the Malfurion again, or Tyrande even. An interesting
Sentinel across the map.
Yeah, Vision maybe. She's going to be raw. I was going to say she's going to be raw stunning this game, which I'm not a huge fan of. maybe the Arthas actually would be in the 4-man. They could stick the Joanna in the solo lane. There's a lot of different moves that they can make with this composition. But I was gonna say, I guess that the Phoenix picks was flexible in the fact that it could be top, it could be mid. We see the URL picked up here from Liam as well.
I don't know how I feel about this draft, Mac. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Arthas is really, really good into Greymane.
Yep.
Really, 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 really good.
Mm-hmm.
Because of Frozen Tempest, just that right there. But Arthas at this point is in the solo, unless you, as you said, you're running like a Phoenix in the solo. Because range into melee can be difficult. So
they could play this. Phoenix, it's weird. They could really play this comp.
I'm not sure. Like, because I expect the Zeratul to be rotating around and jumping up in the top lane periodically to potentially get a gank. Maybe Greymane doing the exact same thing. Maybe after they grab the Bruiser camp on the right hand side. I just I'm looking at the composition for free XP and I'm not seeing how it kind of pieces together. Whereas on the side of KegW, like I see all the blocks falling into place. Like ETC power slides in, Greymane can dive, Rhaegar's got Ancestral or Bloodlust, because this honest to God, we could go Bloodlust on the side of KegW looking at their draft, but I don't know.
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah, we'll see.
We're loading on into this one, and we got free XP on the left hand side. We see Ellie on the Arthas, Hebi will be on that Tyrande, Noah's on the Zeratul, Maka will be on the Phoenix, and we've got Nintori on the Joanna, but we will need to swap our overlay.
Yep. And going into KegW's team, we have Russ DT going to be on the ETC, Vespertine on the Yrel, Tiger JK is going to be playing the Thrall, Unaverted on Greymane, and Legacy rocking that Mecha Rhaegar skin. A little doji team with a little bit of cow.
Legacy, do the dance. Legacy do the dance? Okay, maybe not. All right, either way, we're in mid lane. Sentinel coming through. Disconnect on
Russ
ETC.
is off.
That's game.
Russ
That's
is off
it.
the team.
GG's.
Yep.
That's it. Back. What are we going to game 2 or game 3?
Russ immediately off the team. Taking a
look at this though. We actually have Reinforce and Rhyme coming out from free XP here as they see how much auto attack damage is coming into them.
Yeah, I don't mind that too much. Ellie not taking the root town at level 1 is a little suspect. You know, if we see maybe a VP into root combo, right, into a Tehran stun, maybe that's a one condition they're looking at here. It really depends. You know, the Zeratul is taking cleave at level 1, so I have to assume that he's going cleave build. I see no other reason why you would take that level 1 talent. So maybe for VP's sake, root could have been better at level 1. We'll see as the game progresses here, but they do seem to have priority over here on the waves on free XP's side. Able to get the mid-wave out.
Yeah, it's also really good camp timings coming out from both teams. We can see them both jumping to this just as the shrines activate at the 1 minute mark, or the announcement comes out at the 1 minute mark. Typically, we actually see teams go for Bruisers, into the Siege Giants first, but Bruisers will be the first opportunity, and I think they'll just be pressure for top lane. Greymane might make that rotation. Maybe it's actually Rhaegar. As I'm looking at the mini map and seeing the model icons wrong, but just some extra help into top lane coming out from Legacy. Maka maybe doing the same thing, and Nintori is already up here as well. We'll see how this unfolds here, Mac.
Yeah, Vespertine getting pressured out here, but Legacy is going to be there. Unaverted actually going on to Maka, going into the Worgen form. A lot of damage coming out. A nice knock into the towers. Noah has showed up as well. Ellie, the Russ does miss his slide here. Could have taken out Ellie there. A nice knockback from Yrel. A nice W as well. Unaverted. Going to be taking him out there on the Arthas going down. And Vespertine has not given up yet. Speeding himself up. A nice hammer back onto Maka. It looks like they're just going to be able to clear up this wave. Russ actually connecting a slide. No pressure follow up there behind him. But a good rotation here coming out from KegW to kind of assert this early game dominance from their team composition. Heavy missing there, I think, is pretty crucial, right? No support to kind of keep Ellie alive.
That was just like it's an insane all in top lane, because typically you don't see big fights in top lane. Usually it's the bruiser cams thrown up there, rotate out, go back to bottom lane, and now the bottom lane is actually Noah versus Tiger JK quite a bit. Noah does have to blink away. Greymane is below them, grabbing the camp, so that's gonna be pressure for bottom lane in their favor. Arthas is able to hold over top lane for now, as they're gonna be using that frost presence onto Vesper immediately to slow down their auto attack speed as well as their physical speed. And now Joanna was checking the siege camp on the right-hand side. Not going to go for the invade, as it's 6 up on both sides. 1 kill in favor for KegW.
I would have really liked to see the Arthas take his passive at level 1 instead of block. just to give himself some scaling in this matchup. Because you can see here, it kind of is helpless. Noah actually taking a ton of damage here from Thrall as well in the mid lane. Kind of using those XP gloves to get in some poke. But yeah, it's kind of a helpless thing. I don't think it's impossible essentially for him to take this Yrel down. He might as well have started scaling, right? With his level 1 talent, he could have just started stacking that quest. It stacks infinitely. Eventually his D would have been whacking for, you know, 400 or 500 damage, and it would have at least been something that he could have mini gamed out there in the top lane. Tiger actually caught out of position, asleep at the wheel, some would say. Good rotation there coming out from free XP.
I'm sorry, was the character model just like weirdly ragdolling in place for you, or was it... Okay, all right, sorry. Anyways, 7's up for both teams. Arthas and Yrel currently battling it out in this top lane. Ellie is going to be holding this back over, and Vesper's just sitting on the channel for now, hoping that someone on the friendly team can get into the Dragon Knight. We haven't had a single Dragon Knight capture just yet. It's been going back and forth between both teams as we now are back into bottom lane, checking out this engagement. Seems like they're going to be able to grab this down over here as Rhaegar makes the rotation. Thrall is just going to be clearing out mid lane some more. They did go into the Echo the Elements at level 1, so they're sitting at 17 out of the 20 stacks on that one. No finish on the Subdue yet for the Joanna. We have the Lunar Blaze from the Tyrande, and that's going to be at 0 stacks right now. 11 stacks out of 20 on the Rockrock from the ETC as Thrall just finishes out the Echo the Elements right there. Power slide onto this Phoenix who doesn't, I don't think they have a blink to get out of here. A lot of good damage, but they're able to be pulled back by Nintori. That's a cleanse onto Tiger JK, but they still get picked off. Nice Lunar Flare connecting onto 2. No follow-up onto that one, and they solidify themselves a pick in this bottom lane.
That was a good rotation there. I think they kind of were confident when Malka had already used his E to get out and the Wolf was able to connect. They weren't aware that Tyrande actually pumps a ton of healing, right? And kind of overextended into that. A nice rotation from Noah, and able to pick up a Dragon Knight there off of those kills in the bottom lane. We'll see. They'll probably just take down that mid wall, right? Maybe look to head into the bottom wall to get that gate as well. Tin's right around the corner, though.
Opening up the bottom lane would be really impactful for them, because that way they could potentially get rid of that well, get rid of the lane sustain, and make the engagements down in the bottom lane a lot more difficult for KegW. This Dragon Knight, also to really quickly note, hits for 225 in auto and has 10,000 health roughly. So if you're wondering what the stats are in this and how hard it hits, and this is typically what I see a lot of teams go for. You got like a 1-1-3 in a sense. You've got your solo laner staying up there, maybe pressuring that solo, does rotate down here into mid to help out the Dragon Knight, but then the rest of the team is down in bottom lane, splitting the enemy team, so the Dragon Knight burn isn't as quick, and they can get a slight bit of siege into that bottom lane, also spread themselves and get that experience. They do hit 10s beforehand, but not able to capitalize on a fight with those heroics in favor for free XP. But KegW have their 10s as well, and we have another Dragon Knight phase coming through in about 2 minutes for that one. Until then, it's a potential fight here down in this bottom lane.
Just Vesper team trying to make an opportunity here for his team on that rotation, unable to do so. I'm still a little frustrated, if I will say, about this Arthas build, because now he's gone into both Rune Tap and Icy Talons, and yet he doesn't take the level 1 talent to increase his damage. I like the build. I actually like the adaptation to kind of duel the Yrel, but it's just like, why not have scaled that passive this entire time you're whacking away in that top lane, right? I just wanted to note that, right?
You see what Rhaegar took?
It is a Bloodlust.
It is a Bloodlust.
And it's a Cursed Bullet, too, for the Joanna passive.
Like, I'm really excited to see how this next team fight plays out with Bloodlust, because they've been good back and forth, but I think this might actually amplify the members of KegW into a point where it's just not impossible to kill them, but it's just insanely difficult, because they've got good healing, they've got good self-sustain, they've got a good aggression, but now we also have, I believe, healing from their basic attacks. Yeah. So
it's
any
gonna
sort of extra healing is going to be insane, but we could be seeing that fight pop off down here.
It's going to really come down to where they hit the Bloodlust. If they hit the Bloodlust kind of in the middle of the lane or in the middle of the map, it's very possible that the VP just comes out and just soft resets the fight and kind of wastes the Bloodlust. But, you know, a VP where they're at in the map right now would be disruptive, because even if they come out of the VP they're going to have Bloodlust right on the wall. Vespertine jumping over here. Russ is going to connect a slide here on Ellie, but he is the Arthas. Going to be popping the ghouls. Here comes the VP. A great combo. Just kidding. He actually salvoed all of the damage. Russ with the mosh pit as well. Going to pick up 2. Noah dancing away, breakdancing his legs. Wow. Ellie has the ghouls going, though. Vespertine over on this side of the wall. Maybe they'll be able to take him out here. Or possibly not. Yrel with a 50 armor here on the keep, just tanking away. A bit of an anti-synergy there, Baha.
Oh, that I saw that VP, like I saw Zeratul setting up for the VP, and then once that salvo connected, I was like, please no. And yeah, that's
Feels bad.
That's a bad show right there.
Yeah.
It's a rough go, and I doubt we see that happen again, but definitely I would say that the comms would be a little spicy at that point on the side of free XP.
I think they had 2 different plans there. Maka saw
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, they're bloodlusting and running at us. This is like an insanely good salvo. And Noah saw, oh my god, they're bloodlusting at us. I should VP and reset, you know? And in doing so, they really caught each other out. But Tiger is actually caught out here himself. Ellie with a good body block, but the W from Russ is going to be able to push him out of the way and have Tiger get around, flaunting the mastery on Thrall.
The mosh pit immediately after the VP
that too was
just... That was a showstopper, if you will. That definitely changed the pace of that fight and got them, well, a little extra experience in their favor. But Dragon Knight potential here will be up for KegW. Oh, just kidding. It's going to be Noah in top lane, who does have the counter channel. So each team will be holding over one of these shrines. Heavy in the bush with Nintori, and they send out that Sentinel. They do see where the enemy team is, so they reposition as they saw the Sentinel come through. Might actually invade onto the siege camp. We might have another fight breaking out as Ellie's kind of flanking. And this is a bit of a split engagement coming out from free XP, and they realize this, so they just back off, reset the fight. Doesn't look like the invade happens this time as they send the Sentinel over, realizing the enemy team's on their camp. Could look to invade. We don't have 16s on either side just yet, so I don't know. And it's not like anyone's in a massive gain in experience here. It's pretty close when it comes to your experience overall. But we're going to be seeing these temples traded out as this can be top lane going over to KegW and bottom lane over to free XP.
You actually do see the armor reducing W there on Arthas as well. Again, setting up for that massive VP salvo combo possibly. A good VP could set up that 5-man root that could set up that 5-man salvo. We'll see how the game kind of continues from here. I think a lot of it is going to come down to, you know, how well Noah can position in these fights. You know, he's coming on to level 16 as Zeratul. He's committed into the cleave build as well. So he's going to have to do a lot of lifting, but, you know, against an ETC, against a Thrall, those are 2 very difficult characters for Zeratul, as, you know, both of them have the ability to outplay the Zeratul if they position or kind of guess where he's coming from, right? Especially now that Wormhole has 1.5 seconds before you can recast it to take it back. I'm not... Yeah, it's, as the game goes on, it seems like it almost might be getting harder for their team, but we do see a little scrap going on here in the bottom lane. And Tori playing into that objective.
Without 16s, they're not going for this, and they have top lane held over, so you're also gonna be able to soak up some experience up here. I don't think they'll really leave top lane. They got another wave coming in, which should be 16 talent here. We do have ETC sitting in the bush over here, and I can really quickly, let me see. So I currently can see the vision of free XP. They don't know, they can see Thrall on that point, but they don't see ETC. So no invade came out from the ETCs. They actually backed out from that little engagement, but that's gonna be Zeratul. Blessed Shield does rip out from Nintori. Only catches the tail of Tiger, and they realize this setup is not working out for us, plus the camp being cleared out. Look at Yrel, though, down here for the fight, looking to jump on in. Zeratul rotating back over the top lane. This will be bottom lane traded out, so I expect this to be no Dragon Knight for either team, and just both of these shrines being swapped over.
Yeah, the Blessed Shield used, Noah saying, okay, wait a minute, guys, we're definitely not going to win this objective, and just booking it to the top lane to break the shrine. Kind of want to reset back until the Blessed Shield is up, and maybe retry here, right? Again, we almost want KegW to press in, right, and go for that fight so that we can get the big VPs. Maybe even draw the game out until we get level 20. We'll get some power spikes there for a few of our characters. You can definitely see, I think, Free XP struggling to figure out a way to break this composition, right? They're really grasping and on the back foot, almost playing chase around the map. The Zeratul is doing exactly what Zeratul wants to do, obviously, continuing to be annoying and rotate and move around the map and be kind of hard to kill, but We see a mosh pit actually just taking out Ellie. I like that from Russ a lot. Solo mosh, something that a lot of ETCs don't do if they do take the talent. If you see somebody out of position and mosh is up, even if it's interrupted after a second or two, you know, that's a few seconds of CC that player has no ability to move from. And Noah actually a good VP here, but he is gonna block the salvo again. A second Q is gonna connect. Blink should be down. He didn't take his wormhole back, so 2 kills.
There's actually Starfall out from Heavy at that moment too.
That too.
And that's healing you're suppressing to your unfriendly team. Power side from the ETC. I mean, I'll agree. I mean, I can't tell you how many in different leagues, different ranks, whatever. I've seen solo dances from solo moshes from ETC, and sometimes you got to give that private dance. And a private dance could win you the game. It honest to God, like I've seen solo moshes just take out one hero, and then maybe it's an Infernal Shrines, then they just rotate through the lane with the objective, and they end up just taking the game because they took out the main tank, or they took out that Hans, or whatever it is, just taking out a key critical member of the enemy team. Sometimes you just gotta give that solo dance. But Dragon Knight's grabbed here on the side of KegW, and they're looking to go up 2-0 in our best of 5 series here.
Yeah, Infernal doing a good job to put some pressure here on all those minions. Tiger as well poking out. Ellie just sticking onto that Dragon Knight. Still fairly healthy here, coming in at about 60%. The ghouls are going to be popped. Liam creating pressure in the back line there. Nice knockback on Ellie and then Tori. A good blind, though, on all of those minions. None of them are doing any damage here. Maka is headbutted away. Russ just decides he's going to hop out of the dragon. Maybe force a fight here, maybe disengage. They're not feeling confident about fighting with the dragon here, with Noah coming back up here. As you can see, he's running towards them. VP is still down, though, for 10 seconds. Tiger taking a lot of damage. The Bless is going to connect, and a nice cleave as well. Maybe we'll see Noah take his Vorpal back. He doesn't. Russ, Lunafire is going to miss. Bloodlust is popped, and we are seeing the engage, the re-engage. Maka with a great salvo. But so many people so weak, but no one's going down. Liam as well, just uncontested here. A solo dance taking down Maka. Tiger coming back, and the Earthquake is going to be able to pick up Heavy. Joanna taking down Ellie. It's not looking good, Baha.
That is a dive in from Rhaegar. The butt bites there, unaverted. Rolls forward, throws the Gilnean cocktail. Noah's off to the side saying, I got VP, so I can stall things out, but this is 40 seconds on average for the enemy team, unless they want to just try and stall it out at 1 second. But no, they decide not to, and that's going to be game number 2 over to the side of KegW. They go up 2-0 in our best of 5 series. GG. Well played.
Yeah, it's... man. I love Zeratul. It's one of my favorite characters.
Yep.
But I think Noah's gonna get a red card for that game.
I saw that in chat.
I think he might deserve the red card.
I love the idea of chat handing out yellow and red cards. I think that is just it's just we need to figure out a system here. But I want this to be a system for if we're doing in-houses. Like it's just so good. Let me go ahead and ask what they want to do.
Because they may or may not have watched a game of Heroes of the Storm with a Zeratul in it and never seen a good VP. And when you play Zeratul and you never VP well, that's a red card performance. Especially when you're VPing your team's heroics twice over. Yeah.
Like the first one was a 5-man salvo that was, I would say, I think it was 99%. Like all of it was mitigated.
Yeah.
The second one was a Starfall, which would have given you healing, and you only got, and I think you caught everyone but one, so one person got hit with that, and I think the ETC would have died there if I'm not mistaken. Like someone would have died if the VP didn't come through for that salvo.
Like if I'm playing Storm League and that Zeratul is running around my game, I'm tilted. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm frustrated.
Can it be like a channel points thing? Sorry, I'm still on this. I'm still stuck on this. Like, can it just be channel points? Like, it doesn't do anything. It's just like you can just have that highlighted like red card in chat.
I actually have to keep my toxicity back. I have team chat unenabled, right? So you can't team chat. I can't team chat, but that would have been a toggle on team chat and to please stop casting VP and then toggle off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's.
I mean, yeah. Like yeah. Yep.
that would have been. But overall, I will say like an incredibly good draft coming out from KegW. Actually, I love the draft there. I've always. I mean, if you used to watch Heroes Hearth, especially, Thrall is so good. I think hopefully now teams are realizing that and players are realizing how strong Thrall is. He's as resilient as can be. He provides a form of CC that it can hit multiple targets, right? The fact that it pierces, the way that it interacts with the enemy is so powerful, and both of his heroics are really good. Like they can be used depending on how you want to play. You know, Earthquake. It's like a, hey, you want to fight us here? Cool. Well, enjoy being slowed and being miserable. And then you have Sunder, which is just like, hey, you're a little bit out of position. You know, wouldn't it be a shame if I just stunned all of you right now? So I just feel like that character is so good. He scales really well. All of his talents kind of make him even stronger. You know, it's like,
I love a Sunder when someone's like, you know, you have an enemy team like running away on Infernal Shrines or something, and you end up using that Earthquake and you split, like, the healer's running away a little too late. You split that healer from the rest of the team, and it's just like, yeah, you're dead, bud. Like, that's it.
I think on Tomb of the Spider Queen, that's like one of my favorite Thrall maps, because, or even Dragonshire, you know, you take Sunder, and then you can kind of get in between the middle lane and like the brush or like the wall on Spider Queen and Sunder people and split the team left to right, you know? There's not much in this game that feels as good as, you know, really connecting a good Sunder. So I really like that draft a lot, and you could just see kind of the dominance of it, right?
It was like, and I said it as we were loading in too, I was just like, I don't understand how this works on the side of free XP. Like, I see that there's a lot of things there, but it just didn't seem like synergistic. It didn't seem like there's a lot of it just seemed like it was a lot of heroes picked into a game, which maybe they had synergies built in their mind. They had, you know, some sort of wombo laid out. I couldn't piece it together myself. But here we are, game number 3, and we are making our way into Infernal Shrines. The losing team can either choose first pick or map pick. So the members of free XP chose first pick, meaning map pick priority goes over to the side of KegW, choosing to take us to Infernal. But that ETC is getting banned out by free XP. They're like, you know what? We respect it. Okay, we respect it. We do not want to see that thing coming out.
Yeah, he's a nuisance of a character to deal with. Just being able to slide out if he gets unsafe, and again, speed metal. It's a talent that people have been sleeping on. We see it now getting picked up, and it's like, wow, it's impossible to catch this character. He can knock us back if we do catch him, and then at any point in time, he can slide and give us a nice private dance in the top lane, and it's like, yes, this character is very strong. And yeah, we're getting a respect ban because of it.
Here's the thing, like, ETC is one of those tanks that a lot of people are just like, it's ETC is not that great. Like, ETC in the hands of someone who knows how to peel and get in the backline and harass and play around the mechanics that ETC has, like, oh, they're about to dive me. Like, here's a good example. Like, Raynor with penetrating round to stop an ETC from power sliding is a very difficult task. To stop anyone from diving onto ETC with the face melt is the exact same very difficult task. Like, it's a button press, but it's the timing of said button press. So, like, rust on these ETCs have been something that, like, I don't blame them for banning it out. But we're here on Infernal Shrines. Do you think this is just going to be, well, obviously Johanna's not banned out, so we could see a Johanna, but Mal'Ganis, do you think Mal'Ganis is something to get into that backline and disrupt once again?
Yeah, I want to say Russ is probably going to pick up one of those two tanks, Mal'Ganis or Johanna. We see the Johanna, and Sylvanas, pretty typical here too on Infernal Shrines. If you get the objective, being able to push in with it, you get more value. I will say that I would still really like to see someone that can get the shrines for their team. Sylvanas, well, she's okay at it. You know, she's nothing compared to something like a Hanzo who's gonna smash his Q, pick up a couple people, a couple skeletons there with his explosive bolt. So maybe a Greymane, a Leoric, especially now with this Diablo. We'll see if even a Leoric band comes out.
What if I threw in a Kerrigan? Because Kerrigan,
yeah,
we're a little divey here on the side of free XP, and it does give you shrine clear, gives you some aggression, works with the Diablo. Like, it has setup, it has follow up. I actually lean a lot of like, either team could go Kerrigan here. Like, I think she fits into most compositions. But the big thing is you need to have at least some initial stun, some initial setup, and I don't think she's typically that. Like, it's something like the overpower the Shadow Charge overpowered them maybe into Kerrigan combo, or Hanzo rips an arrow and she's able to dive in a Maelstrom and get in there, or Joanna rips a Blessed Shield and they go in there. But they're going to get rid of the Jaina for the right-hand side, or on the left-hand side, because the right-hand side doesn't have any sort of shrine clear in that sense, and it doesn't seem like they're going to prioritize it with that Hanzo.
That's a weird ban, no? That Jaina ban?
I
feel like as free XP, you want Jaina. Like, Diablo with Spell Shield 1 is, like, pretty impervious to Jaina's damage. And now we're giving up Greymane, who's more effective on the shrines, more effective at curse bulleting the Diablo down, more effective at kitting the camps.
Yep.
It's, I think that's an interesting ban. And even the Phoenix, though, is fairly interesting. Maybe they assumed that we're going to go into, like, a Salvo Breath combo. I like Deckard a lot. Shuts down a lot of the kind of all-in that this team could do. Ellie picking up the Sonya, one of my favorite characters on this map. She's so powerful on the shrines. And the KT, there you go. You've gotten your KT game for the night, essentially.
Infernal Shrines Kael'thas is just great. Living Bomb is a good zoning tool. Flame Strike is a good zoning tool, and Shrine Clear. So maybe that's just it. They just wanted to limit the amount of mages that could go into this game, because they had their main tank. They had the Sylvanas. They kind of need a solo lane. I don't know. The Janus, like, is still a weird outlier for me as well. Now that you pointed out, like, I'm trying to, like, piece it in there, and, like, it's still, like, I could see it working, but I don't think it's a massive priority for the members of KEGW. But a Deathwing to go into the Sonya for top lane. I love Sonya here on Infernal Shrines. I think she's massively undervalued on a map like this. Her solo shrine clear is great. Like, you win the team fight over a shrine, leave her on the shrine, siege him with the rest of your team, win the shrine, and then you already have your gate or whatever is down ahead of you, and you can continue to press further forward. I think free XP has a strong draft this go around, but I don't want to just, there's still a Greymane, there's still Sylvanas. Like, you still have those two major powerhouses, and then on top of that, you have Deathwing, who can just fly from top, land on the shrine, and get into battling. So I think we're in for a good game number 3 here.
Yeah, I would say advantage for me is probably going to be free XP. I think their early game is a bit stronger as well. If they can make it to their heroics without, like, just blowing the game and the lead, I feel like that 10 shrine should be favored for them. It's going to be very, very difficult for KEGW to do the shrine. A lot of them are melee characters, and KT is going to shine in that moment, right? Igniting the minions, the skeletons, popping, chain bombing. It'll be interesting to see here, but we'll hopping into this game. Number 3 here. Looking at free XP, we have Nintori on the Diablo. Heavy is going to be playing the Stukov. Maka on the KT. I think that's Noah on the Hanzo, and Ellie is going to be picking up the Sonya.
On the right-hand side, we got the members of KEGW. We've got Vesper on the Deathwing. Tiger is going to be on that Greymane. We've got Legacy on the Deckard Cain. Russ is on the Joanna, and Unaverted will be on the Sylvanas. We'll go ahead and get in the mid lane, check out our level 1s, and field study for Deckard Cain. Okay. No Sapphire, no scroll, scroll of identify or anything like that. It's going to be field study for them, and I see them pick it up here and there. But also, Hanzo goes into simple geometry at level 1 and is already sitting at 4 stacks. Just a heads up on that one. So that shouldn't be too difficult for them to be able to burn through that one. No, I think in the past I've seen them play a lot of Hanzo, and very, very skilled at said Hanzo. But we'll get into rotations. We have our solo laners breaking off into top, and this will be pretty much our standard until 3 minutes into the game, where our first Punisher will pop up in top lane, it being Mortar.
Yeah, Noah getting those stacks is going to be strong here. Again, I think the most important is that we don't allow KEGW to get an early game pick, get some sort of, invade a camp and steal a camp. I think that's going to be really important here for free XP. They just kind of need the game to go back and forth, trade, blow for blow, and get to that 10-10 heroic fight where Wrath Sonya comes online and is able to, win the Shrine fight, right? The Shrine fight is going to be the most important here. Because I honestly think that their map is a bit weaker, I want to say. I think KEGW has a stronger map as far as, wave clear, camp taking.
Oh, I mean, look, it's Sylvanas and Greymane together.
Yeah.
If you get the Punisher, Sylvanas and Greymane siege so well, and you have an anchor like Joanna and Deathwing can either split soak or keep pressuring up. So yeah, I think KEGW, if they get some momentum, it's big for them, especially after an objective phase. The other thing too, I mean, you're talking about things, dragging onto the later half of the game. Things like Kalephos really get a lot of their kit way later, and also this scaling of that level 1 for the Mana Addict to get that Arcane Barrier, that's a big saving factor in a lot of these fights. But I want to point this out, mcintyre. I believe I misheard you. Did you say Wrath of Berserker? Because Sonya's only a proper Sonya takes lead.
Yeah, on most maps, most cases, I think Leap is the play.
Always.
But unfortunately, there's a character on KegW's team that is unstoppable always, and there's a character that can push a button to become unstoppable. Then there's a character that can push another button and become unstoppable. So there's a lot of unstoppable there coming out on the red side. So for that reason, we're probably going to see Wrath taken. As you see Joanna lifted up here, not always unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
But a wall just falls down casually.
Oh, yeah, I know. They just burn through that. They're like, all right, we'll soft push into bottom lane, open that up a little bit, and then rotate over to grab an objective. Ellie is playing this mid lane really safe, or not really safe, but just really smart, because they know the enemy team's rotating up, so they're playing towards the back of the wave, not trying to step into the minion wave as it came through. They do have their own minion wave in here as well. I'm just skimming through some talents. We actually have biotic armor for the Stukov. It's not a pick I see often, but I guess with the dive from Greymane, not a bad choice.
I honestly do not want to see them fight here. I'm not sure they can win this fight this early in the game without the talents. Like you said, KT needs the talents. Yep. Sonya needs the talents. You know,
if they can split, if Nintori can split someone, that's squishy. I think this is definitely their fight. But Nintori taking a whole lot of damage here. I think they might be the first one to go down as they're trying to make their way out. Sonya trying to spin to win. They get picked off as there was a lurking arm from Stukov to zone them back. Tiger JK looking to follow it further, but isn't able to do so. And Mac, you called it right there. You said you don't want them to fight, and they stepped in and they got picked off.
The Diablo 2,
yeah,
you know, he needs souls. You know, 50 is a lot of souls, but it's not enough. He needs the 100 souls. He needs to be able to, you know, stomping fire and kind of heal himself up. He needs that 7 talent. Maybe he'll take it. No, he is going to take up the battle momentum at 7. He needs to be able to, you know, sustain himself. It's very hard for Stukov to keep a Diablo, you know, fully healed, unlike a character like Ana might be able to do, or a Whitemane. So a lot of sustain needs to come from him. The same goes for the Sonya. We see even, you know, Vesper kind of coming out here, cataclysming. You know, the pressure is pushing in. A nice leap here, actually going to probably take Noah down. One more punch, he's body blocked off, right?
Like, Mortar Punisher's undervalued in Siege, but it slaps.
Yeah.
Like, Mortar Punisher hit, like, if it jumps on you and it gets some ground pounds, like, it's definitely, you saw Noah right there in a risky spot. But here's what I really loved from KegW in that last fight. Greymane, we talked about this earlier. Greymane sieges so well. So instead of just having Greymane sit with the friendly team and siege through top lane, they left Deathwing in the lane that they essentially will be in. And they're just going to siege him with that, and then have Greymane rotate to that bottom lane where they already soft pushed before the objective phase and got a little damage onto the fort, also taking down the well. We mentioned lane sustain during Dragonshire, and now with bottom lane Punisher being arcane next, this means that if the enemy team needs to rotate back to get any sort of mana tap or, you know, healing burst, they have to either rotate to mid lane or all the way back to their keep in bottom or mid. Heads up play coming out from KegW, and just a very smart preparation across the map. And you called it earlier, their map is so much stronger on the side of KegW, and that right there is a great example of how they're playing into that.
Yeah, just getting priority on all the lanes, kind of controlling where free XP needs to be. We see a potential pick here on the Joanna. Unstoppable is used. Is going to be able to get the flip. He is unable to. A nice seal coming out there from Legacy as well. Russ actually engaging in. A nice Cursed Bullet. He's going to be able to take Noah down. Russ playing in here. No unstoppable. And Tori could look to maybe make a flip play. But it is just going to be a nice blessed pickup here out of the side of KegW. Yeah, they just need to get to those heroics, right? They need to stop playing so aggressive. Get to the heroics. Get that shrine fight. You know, what's so important at this point in the game is that Nintori actually doesn't go down. I want to check. He's only at 64 souls since the last objective, which was a quite long time ago. He's only able to pick up 12 souls. He's really focused on getting those souls to this next shrine fight. He's as healthy and as big as he can be. He's gonna really need to be, right? This next fight is super important. They need to win it if they want to have a chance to bounce back, as they're now down 2 forwards. The passive experience is going to start to kind of take control of the game, and give KegW that experience lead that they need as they continue to grind forward and hold their lead that they've gotten from that first round.
The next shrine should be announced fairly soon. As noted, it will be Arcane in the bottom lane. Just to update everyone at home who's wondering what the quests and talents are, we have 19 out of the 20 on Mana Act for Kalephos, 12 out of the 20 for Simple Geometry on the Hanzo. As noted, we have 72 souls on that Diablo, so they need another 28 to finish that out. Joanna has not finished the Subdue, and we have 1 stack on the Listen to list for that Gray main. Potential fight in bottom lane is they're going to pull them back in with the Condemn. They do throw a Lurking Arm out as well, a little poke damage here and there, but they're just trying to open up this bottom lane. Gray main still soaking in through mid, Deathwing in top lane pushing back the Shaman camp, and I want to quickly, I'm just going to click on them so I can at least see it myself. They're on that 4-second timer for their flight, so they can clear that top lane, and they have their own Shaman camp coming in, maybe clear the wave that's there, and then they can take flight, drop down, and rejoin the friendly team during this next fight, or they stay up there for one more wave and look for a 13. We'll have to see how this works out, but this is them diving in here, McIntyre, and they go in with Gray main. That's a silence out immediately, and Sonya goes down.
Yeah, Nintori is going to try his best to keep Tiger off of Heavy, but Heavy probably is going to be taken down here as well. A nice breath and a good shove as well, maybe giving Tiger out of position to get picked up by Maka. He is going to go down as well as the Joanna Rust.
Oh. Souls literally finish out at 8 minutes and 5 seconds, and then Diablo goes down a second later. That's a rough go.
So, man, yeah, the tragedy of that fight was actually that Sonya decided that she was gonna pop Wrath at 10% health, and this was before the Blessed Shield connected, before the Silence connected, before the Curse Bullet connected. So she kind of absorbed all of that CC, whereas typically Wrath would be procced, you would get hit by it, you would kind of nudge it off, and then you would continue to spin your way to victory. She was unable to do that because the Wrath was not pressed, right? I would say usually as her, you really want to get that going the second the Shrine's up. You can sustain it through just landing spears or autoing the Shrine. And we see a punish there, a really, really aggressive engage. Almost was saved by that, what was it, swipe from Stukov, right?
Flailing swipe.
Yeah, he swiped him into the KT damage, but it's too late.
You can't flailing swipe a Deathwing. That's the issue too.
Yeah.
Like it's just this gigantic dragon coming at you, and you're trying to just push it away, and it's just still walking towards you, but 13 talent here will be up and available on the side of free XP as they are in the defensive foot for this Arcane Punisher. Sylvanas already trying to take out the sidewall. That way they can engage with the Punisher once it does jump over. This is actually a really, really strong tactic. Now the Punisher jumps over, they can step further forward. Greyman gets the Curse Bolt. That's going to be Joanna diving in. The Wrath of Berserker was popped. Deathwing lands on top of them. There is going to be a Dragon Strike out from that Hanzo. It kind of just sidesteps or goes past everyone as we are going to be seeing this Punisher making sure they open up the front of that gate. Rust so very low. Punisher jumps back over. Greymane dives in. Ellie going to spin away as they're trying to pull this Punisher towards the mid lane as it decides, no, I want to go back into bottom. Deathwing did take flight, so they can get there. They're going to land right on top of Noah, and they're going to be looking to step further forward. That's going to be a stale one. Listen from the Dicker Kane. Punisher jumps over as well. They're looking to dive onto Heavy. Deathwing lunges through with the onslaught. This is a huge bellowing roar from Vesper as well, as Heavy is able to stay alive for a couple more seconds. They get through the far side of the gate. That Sonya is going to go down. Heavy gets the lurking arm, but the core is falling rapidly. Tiger JK is going to get hit with the Pyroblast. They're going to take flight as well, but the core falling rapidly. Unaverted Legacy and Rust looking to end game as Punisher goes down, and that will be game 3 over to the side of Keg W. GG. Well played.
And that is a series. That's gonna be a monka for me. I'm just gonna highlight this heroic ability. I'm sure you guys may not have seen it because it doesn't actually do anything.
Mac,
but it was cast twice that game.
I have a side tangent really quickly. Can we talk about this? Dragon Strike versus Dragon Arrow. Why on earth would you name the thing that does the AoE burst damage Dragon Arrow instead of Dragon Strike? And why would you name the thing that summons a dragon? Like, why not summon the thing that summons a dragon? Call it Dragon Arrow. This tilts me always. Side note. Anyways, but Dragon Strike, meme talent. Don't know why it was picked.
It's upsetting. I'm gonna do a little research here.
Like, if we had like a Leorcan tomb with an apocalypse on top of that, then yeah, maybe, absolutely. But like, no, there's no setup like that.
I'm very curious because I didn't get to see it, so we're gonna do a little replay here. Hopefully, I can pull it up as we jump into a winner's interview. Actually, let me bring up the talents for you guys. Okay, you guys have the talents here. So I'm jumping in. I'm gonna try to get the VOD really quick because I'm interested. So you know the fight that went down on the shrines where Sonya got Blessed Shield and then kind of they just ran over them.
I saw Dragon Strike just kind of.
Yeah, so I'm curious, like, what did the Dragon Strike do there? And if it was an error, like, in my head, you know, just by default, I'm programmed to think, okay, you know, Hanzo's, that means we're going to get an arrow, right? We're not going to get a Dragon Strike. And
yeah, we're going to get a Dragon Arrow.
We got a Dragon Strike? All right, so I'm not sure if you can pull up oh, that is not what I want. That's not what I want either.
Look at all that.
Look at all the look at all the things and stuff. Let me figure out what I want here. No, I want this to work. So this is not it. Hello. Yeah, guys, this is how all this works. I'm doing this for you guys. Just know that. That's not it either. Okay. So it's this one. Yes, you figured it out. All right, cool. All right, so here's the fight. This is what I've been working for this whole time. I'm doing a great job. This is production, by the way. So in this fight, I'm going to slow it down and we're going to break it down really quick because I need to point some things out. One, Russ does a great job. Right here off the bat, he just holds down this brush position. He's not showing anything. The other team has no idea that they're here right now, right? They think, hey, we're winning this objective, to the point that Ellie, again, does not cast his Wrath. Super crucial, because not having Wrath up means all that resistance from CC that you get from Sonya is not there. And so we're going to see, actually, Unaverted throwing his E aggressively, and on that window, Russ immediately throws his Blessed Shield. And it's going to connect onto Ellie here, actually. So we see a nice E. It hits so many people there from Unaverted. Russ throws his Blessed Shield. It's actually off of the minion, so you don't even get a full duration CC. If Wrath was procced here, this Sonya would have barely moved, right? Barely moved. But again, Wrath is not procced. And followed up on top of that, we see not only a Decker Cane root, but a Silence. And here's what we really want to point out here in the bottom left corner. Noah. Just watch the form. Watch the 360. Watch the power of this heroic. The fight's already over. It hasn't even gotten out yet. Barely gets out from the sleep that would have stopped it. And then, boom, overshoots the entirety of the fight because it shoots out 10 feet in front of the character for some reason. The fight's already over. Everyone's dead.
Blizzard, please rename it to Dragon Arrow.
And then we proceed to watch the beautiful, beautiful art of the Dragon Strike. Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible engage from KegW, actually. But I will say that, you know, had Noah had the arrow there instead, could have possibly stunned up that engage, right, to kind of stop them from just all-inning his team. I don't know. Well, I did the production and now everything's messed up. Look at that.
You want to jump into? Oh, perfect. I'm the game. Do you want to jump on into this? You want to jump on into this interview really quickly?
Yeah, let's go to the interview now. Hopefully this fixes that. Yep, cool. All right, let's move on into the Discord.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
We got.
Hello. Is that the Wing Daddy?
Thank you.
Yay. You guys enjoy that Dragon Strike?
Dude, I think it was in the wall, but
Did you just watch the breakdown that we had after watching the VOD replay?
I saw.
So laughing. It was really funny.
I put your stream on, and I saw a Dragon Strike in the wall, and I'm like, oh.
After everyone was dead, the best part is that it almost got slept too. Like, it was very close. The sleep almost caught the Dragon Strike, and it would have just done absolutely nothing. Like, that's the best part.
It did do absolutely nothing, though.
Good, thank you, Russ. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that. We didn't notice.
I did want to ask, what was like backing up a little bit, Shire, because we were watching that draft unfold. What were you all discussing when that draft kind of came to a conclusion? Because we were both of us were looking at, we're like, this works, but how? Like, where are you going to rotate things around? Like, did it seem like an odd draft? Did you just see what they were going for? Because even chat was like, why is Phoenix here? Can someone explain this to me?
I think that game they were actually hoping to do solo sport Abathur because Phoenix doesn't need the heals, and Zera doesn't really need it either. So that's something that Noah in particular likes to run a lot. So that's why we banned it out. So they kind of got they kind of got screwed over there.
That explains a lot of it, kind of like getting like, it kind of went sideways halfway through that draft when you did ban out that Abathur. Okay, all right. So you all knew something that we didn't, because I was looking, I was like, I don't see how this pieces together. So you just denied them the thing they really needed, and it just turned everything around in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they were like, hey, you know what would be good against ETC? Arthas. And you guys were like, oh, that's cool, because Uriel can just forever stand top and just
I can just kite him forever.
Yeah. That was a good. I think that was a good draft game too. I think looking back to game 1, that was a Spider Queen. That was the closest game I want to say of the series. Were you surprised that they continued to take fights when you guys got turn-ins? Like, how were you like, hey, let's fight, or were they like, hey, we're gonna fight, and you guys responded?
I think the turn-in fights was like them YOLOing our backline with Leo. And then,
we knew they were was like coming off of Entomb. So
so they were YOLOing with Genji, Leo, and Tomb. And then when they would come in, I would just look for Greymane Mouth if they ever step up into a cage.
Yeah, those fights are pretty bad because like you're taking a 50-50 fight, and if you lose, you just lose your entire base. Like we just take like all your forts, all your keep walls.
I think they just felt that they had to because they had Genji, and their whole plan with Genji was to bully the bottom lane. But if I just played really safe behind my wall, they couldn't really get value with Genji on that map.
Yeah, it seemed like they were pressuring you, but then all in all, as you say that, you played the lane safe, and they would do double rotation to bottom and get 0 to minimal value, and there'd be 2 rotating to bottom lane when you didn't need to be able to do that. So it was a heads up play overall from all of you. And then this Infernal Shrines game, I mean, you got this Deathwing. Did you feel like you just had to get a little momentum under your belt and you could really continue that pressure? Did you have to feel like you had to play around that Diablo, the Souls, the Hanzo poke and stuff? Or was it just you had momentum, you could run it down because you had Sylvanas, Greymane, and Deathwing?
Yeah, we felt like we had strong early game. Just like Diablo has to get souls, we have Sylv, so we tried to force some of the early things like taking bot wall and things like that. And then pretty much they don't have a very good Deathwing counter. So
we were deciding between the Malthael and the Deathwing, the last pick, because we felt like we could just one-shot the Diablo Malthael, but I think the Deathwing was pretty damn good. So
I loved. I mean, Mac was going over that last little fight with the Dragon Strike and everything, and the big thing that we were talking about right before that happened in the game was Deathwing in top lane clearing things out. And I checked your cooldown. You had the flight up and available, so you could clear their camp, have your own push up, get a wave, get 16, I believe, off of that, and then be able to fly down, land on top of the enemy team, and just keep pushing. Like, it worked out so well in that global sense for all of you. Like, it was just a well orchestrated game coming out from your team. I don't have any other questions unless you do, Mac.
I have a singular critique from game 1. You guys did hard camp and then did nothing with it and proceeded to go bottom and take easies and then do nothing with those. Is there a reason for that? Do you just want the experience lead, or
if I remember correctly,
stronger? Are they stronger than, why are we not pushing with that?
We lost the top fight.
It was like around, like, you guys both like level 4 harded, right? You both did hards level 4. And then you started hards, and then they were a little late on their hards. They got their hards. But then when you got your hards, you ran down easy, took easies, and then you went back mid, but your hards were cleared, and then their hards were pushing, and now your easies get cleared.
Right. So after we did our hards, we thought the Greymane was going to rotate bottom overs, and they were doing it.
Okay.
So me and Malthael ran down there to just check.
Yeah, he made it look like they were doing it because they were like fainted or rotate down there. So it looked like they were doing it.
And then once I got there, we're just like, fuck it, do it. And then wait, the ogres, did they get no value bottom? It might have gone
0.
Yeah, they got 0.
But one thing we did is like we should have gotten more value for sure from it. I think like even if they do ogres bottom, we could have gone like a tower or
push
two.
top tower.
No,
while
we
they were
could have
bottom.
pushed mid really hard.
Well,
it
either
was
one.
a really good feign then if that's what it was for
Mhm.
them to kind of pull you off of that mid lane because
Yeah,
they pulled you out
yeah.
of mid lane, they cleared mid, and then by the time you got to bottom, they were already rotating down there, and I think you were cycling back to go deal with something in top or just to go back into standardized rotation. So I think that you saw the Siege Giants they were pushing in. If you would have stayed down there, they would have potentially ganked you with Genji and everything kind of collapsing into that corner. So it was a heads up play. Like it worked out really well from you, and you didn't get value from it, but you played it safe and didn't give anything over.
Yeah.
I gotta say these games are great. Like, do you think that like even if we went into games like 4 and 5, that'd still just be you all dominating, or did you think that they started getting your number a little bit in that last little bit of the last game? Like, do you think they could bounce back in a game 4 and 5, or do
Sure
you
they
think that you
could,
guys?
yeah.
I'm sure they could.
I
They're
think
all.
they're favored.
I mean, they're
Their
all good
players are all
players.
good,
Yeah,
so-
they're all good players on the enemy team. We
I
just
think
had like I
We
think
just
the
have to
difference
act the time
was
on us.
we just had better macro every game. Macro heroes. We're out rotating them every game in terms of camps and rotate. Like we just had the advantage in rotation, so we took
If you
out
look-
everything on the map.
If you looked at the D Shire game, like we like getting those bot bruisers, just we got bot fort and bot keep wall
Yeah, true.
Just
off
of
of one
camps.
bruisers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that mosh pit after that VP was so well played. Oh my god.
Oh, that was
Like-
it's depressing. It was like not only was the
that
VP
the yellow card.
Yeah, that was the yellow card. Like not only did the VP absorb all of the salvo, but then once he dropped it, there was a mosh pit happening. Like and he was in the mosh pit. I was like
Oh, it's a rough go.
Like that just hurt
I-
to watch.
I,
But
I think I saw a starfall. Just like I showed up and there's just a starfall on top of a VP. I'm just like, what the fuck's going on here?
that is exactly something that Bahamut pointed out as well. He was like, "Oh, there's a starfall there too on that VP." It's like, all right, well, sometimes it'd be like that, but yeah, I mean, you guys, that was something I pointed out to Baha. Pretty much every game, you guys had map priority via your like push heroes, and they opted into going to the Genji, the Zeratul, which are great characters for creating pressure on the map, but like you need to have something that clears waves efficiently if you're gonna take stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta be an absolute god on those heroes, I think, to play them.
Especially
And-
nowadays, right? The game is just so based on like raw numbers that you take a character like Thrall and you can miss everything, but you can Q once and maybe slam your Earthquake, and you'll trade 75% of Genji's health. Meanwhile, he has to hit 3-star shurikens 3 times over, land his E, land an X strike, and he does a quarter of your health as Thrall. So it's like, what's the
Yeah.
point? Like, other than the fact that you can dive a Jaina, but then have Ana standing right behind her and shooting triple heals into her and have her full health. So it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
I feel that for sure. It's interesting to see where the kind of meta and strategy is headed, and to see those type of strategies against each other and how they play out. And in this case, you guys obviously drafted better tonight and got the win because of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be it, right, Baha? No more questions from you. Shout outs.
Before we let you guys run out of here, any shots that you'd like to give? We can kind of run down the Discord chat and start with Legacy.
I'd say just shout out to you guys. Thanks for having us. This is fun.
Yeah, same.
So definitely would love to participate in the
Yeah,
future.
pretty much same here. It's a lot of fun.
Shout out to the wing daddies.
Well, congratulations on your victory, guys. You all have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you all next week, I believe.
Yep. See you on
Alright,
Monday.
sounds
All right,
good.
thanks.
Cool.
All right,
Peace.
thanks.
Alrighty. McIntyre, these are some fun games, but 2 weeks in a row, I believe the Heroes Hearth Celebrity Clash League in-house games have a meta of their own, which is three game sessions. That's
Yeah.
it. Like like when will we be able to get that game for? That's the big question. Will it be next week? I'm not sure, but I think people can tune in next week at 5 o'clock PDT, 7 o'clock Central.
We'll
and
be here.
they can find out. Yeah, they can
Yeah.
find out.
New rosters,
then-
new players. Until then.
You can find me over at Bahamut Gaming, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I will be casting tomorrow night, Wednesday, and Thursday, working towards that Twitch partner. So hopefully they'll say yes or something like that. We're 3 weeks into an application on Wednesday. Like, come on. All right. Anyways, yeah, you can find me. I'll be casting throughout the week if you enjoyed what you heard me say this evening. But Mac, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm at mcintyre on Twitch. I've started playing a lot of Heroes again. So if you guys want to watch my Storm League struggles and listen to music from movies, that's a great place to do that. And then mcintyre Hots on Twitter. Obviously, Heroes Hearth. Shout outs to them. If you guys didn't know already, I'm doing a lot of content with Heroes Hearth. Our YouTube has increased tremendously. If you guys haven't checked it out, I would really advise you to do so. Again, so many different videos from so many different people. Kyle just posted a video today, Kyle Ferguson, about positioning in a team fight.
Oh God, yeah.
And it is incredible content that you guys can learn so much from. I would really recommend checking it out, as well as all the competitions that we're hosting here weekly. So tons of good content on that channel. And again, that's something that I've been working on. So I would really appreciate it if you'd all check it out.
Go subscribe, hit that bell, know when the videos are up and all that good YouTube stuff. But I guess until next time, we'll see you all in the Nexus, and you have a great night. And thanks for stopping by, and continue to keep supporting Grassroots Heroes of the Storm.
Until next time, guys. Cheers.